Hi, welcome. Yes, another good morning here on Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. A lot to unpack for you. Copa del Rey semi-final, English Premier League, a lot of the games, and of course, my big issue, and I know the number of goals that Madrid seem to be conceding. I think they're a little bit too much. And Madrid conceding 4 goals. Almost every manager, Weshia, Carlo, and Ancelotti, seems to be losing the tactical battle to him. Again, hi Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. Say, won't subscribe to the channel and subscribe. Turn your notification. Make sure say notification turn and we choose it all. So that your content in our drop here, you'll be the first to have it. Still pay the data and analytics now. About 30% of you have subscribed. Also, don't see the content. It means that your notification and you're on. You need to put it on. So that anytime your content ever drop, you can see it. For the investors, yesterday wasn't a good day. It was not. Because Madrid conceded so much, but still I know. So yesterday Monday, you know that you go again. So in the description of the video, today's codes are going to be there. The link to the Fiifi-Manfred on Telegram, Fiifi-Manfred WhatsApp channel, and then Fiifi-Manfred, I think the other ones, and also social media, Facebook and then Twitter. You can go and pick it up. Then of course, good luck to you, and then all the best. But do best responsibly. You remember. So I was talking about Madrid Copa del Rey, and then there's going to be Barca versus Atletico de Madrid Copa del Rey at the Civitas Wanda Metropolitano. And after what happened yesterday at the Santiago Bernabeu, what means is that Madrid will get the first ticket to the Copa del Rey final. Carlo Ancelotti say after game, he wasn't worried. He knew that Madrid were going to go through. But I think that for every Madridista, not in Kofoye very worried. Kofoye very, very worried because Argentina have a game now. First, Madrid are conceding first goal. Enrique Ramirez gets the equalizer, then Alaba own goal over there, then another goal again from Oyarzabal, making it 3-1. Madrid managed to get 2 goals from Orient Tchouameni over there and making it 3-3. Then all of a sudden, the game runs into extra time at 4-3. Then we knew that it could go anywhere. For me, I was worried for Madrid and I've said it several times. It's another game of Madrid about Eufia. The opposing manager seems to be controlling the game. I don't think that's good enough. And you're good enough at all for how Carlo Ancelotti are managing the team. So, and on the other side, on the opponent watch, Madrid's opponent in the Champions League next week, also in the English Premier League, and it was Arsenal. Simple 2-0 at the Emirates. The bad news, however, in fact, I think Arsenal for there was good news and there was bad news. The good news was that Bukayo Saka, after 100 and something days away from playing football, back, and then he scored a goal, and the master and 2 goals to 0. And he went to the medical staff and celebrated, obviously, because it was a long spell on the sidelines, and no player wants that. But away from that, apparently a friend of Gabriel Magalhaes picked up an ankle injury. What it means is that as it stands now, Arsenal are uncertain, say Gabriel Magalhaes should be moving. I'm going to be saying Mikel Arteta about it. Arteta say he can only ascertain after assessment any test on and neck to know if a branch friend Gabriel Magalhaes should be in the game against Real Madrid. But that's going to be a huge blow because the battle between Antonio Rudiger and then the 2 Arsenal centre backs will be very important. William Saliba and Gabriel Magalhaes in determining who goes on to the Champions League semi-final. I think if Arsenal have a chance at the 2 centre backs, starting centre backs, they need to be there. They need to be fit to be able to play. If Arsenal lose Gabriel Magalhaes or William Saliba, a big blow. Especially at a time where Madrid is getting almost every player back. Rudiger back, Alaba back, Militao seems to be coming back. Vinicius Jr. in front with Kylian Mbappe, Munina are getting back, and that is very good news from every Madridista. But the only bad news from another game was the fact that they conceded 4 goals, and that was not good enough for Arsenal. Of course, after the game in extra time, it was a good goal for Madrid to win it with that extra goal that came in there for Team Alfredo, Real Madrid to go on into the Copa del Rey semi-final. And the kind of energy, impetus, and believer Paris Saint-Germain for our French League honor, I think it's very interesting, very, very interesting. Now, why am I saying this? Paris Saint-Germain under Christophe Galtier, Paris Saint-Germain under Thomas Tuchel, and a lot of these few managers before Luis Enrique, when they go into a game that say if you conceded 2 goals and 1 goal, they become deflated. But in the Coupe de France game, Paris Saint-Germain 2-0 down. Luis Enrique just had to spring some changes on the Ousmane Dembele Bemo, the Desiree Doué Bemo. These 2 players essentially turn the game around. In fact, By the time Ousmane Dembele in the upper partners on the Paris Saint-Germain were down by 2-0, literally engineered the win for Team Manfred and Paris Saint-Germain. And I've said it several times, it is because the profile of players in FAT Luis Enrique, they know exactly how they want to play under the manager, but he has also imbibed exactly what he used to do at Barcelona when he was Barca manager. You see, he's a whole in a team, more fluid, more positional, more attacking. Most of the times, they are usually bullied without the ball. And I've said it several times here, I say, in football, you win the game off the ball and you play the game on the ball. So, kita ball na bit many okay. But what you make you win a game is what you do without the ball. More combativeness or physicality or aggression. I mean, they can't achieve anything. If you don't have that, then you fail to win any game at all. And that's what Luis Enrique, the fluid footballer Paris Saint-Germain for the ball. Now with some combativeness and they're able to win. And now Paris Saint-Germain did their job, and as it stands now, one of the most informed players in Europe, I can say, is this idea, and I think it's about 9 goals and 11 assists or so. And Paris Saint-Germain are making the 9th Coupe de France final in 11 attempts, and that tells you how much of a top team are Paris Saint-Germain with how well they've been playing. Again today, Barcelona and Atletico de Madrid. I've said it several times. I know that today Atletico will go into the game knowing that this is literally the last chance at any form of silverware for El Chojo. Because in the last few weeks, we're losing out in the Champions League round of 16 to Real Madrid. Barca are batching it as well in the league, and they are literally away. They can't win the league again. Then the only piece of silverware that looks very feasible for them is Copa del Rey win. Now, they go into this game 4-4, first one at the Midweek, knowing that Barca team are very lethal. And if you look at how they were able to play in the first game, Atletico Madrid, the dominating game, they scored the first 2 goals. For some reason, they let it slide. And Barca for the better take and money 4-4. Now they go into this one knowing it is still going to be the regular 4-4-2 from El Chojo. Santiago Jimenez more at the back, then making sure in the middle of the park, Conor Gallagher, so that he's going to exert a lot of pressure. And when Fiifi and Antoine Griezmann will lead the lines. I don't think that Solo start this one. I think with Julian Alvarez, Ebele lead the lines now. He uses his own son. Guillermo Simeone on the wings with Rodrigo de Paul to do a lot of off-the-ball job for them. Now, Madrid is going to be Barcelona is going to be a different proposition from Madrid for them. So watch your Barcelona. Barca are going to play with total dominance on the ball. 3 with Jules Koundé, Paul Kubasi, I think he returns for this one, Inigo Martinez as the back 3. Then in the middle of the pack, we're expecting that it's going to be Pedri, Gavi. Frankie de Jong was a little bit not fit for the first one, but I'm sure by now it was just accumulated fatigue or you're back into this one to control the middle of the pack. Then up top, Lamine Yamal, Rafinha, after resting 2 games, is back with Robert Lewandowski. The last time I was mentioning, at age 36, Robert Lewandowski has almost 40 goals for club and country this time, and it tells you how solid he is. I mean, Barca do complain every time about how the old man is struggling when he pays any signing money and misses chances, but he does the most important thing, which is scoring of goals, and that's what Robert Lewandowski and that's what the team that's what I see Barcelona. I think it's going to be a very interesting game. My money is on Barcelona. I think it's a Barca team actually, even though it's away from home, but most of the times in the picks waiting for a double chance for Barca, just to be careful and protect your investment for you in a game against Atletico de Madrid. If Barca are able to get it, it means that we're going to get another Grand Clasico final in the Copa del Rey. There's another Grand Clasico our league in I think on the 11th of May that those 2 teams are going to play. So it tells you that there are a lot of big games that are going to go on in the recent days that are coming. Of course, and now Manchester United, sad one. I think it's the first time I remember the Manchester United dominated ball on the park. Like, as in, Manchester United several times. But for them to be dominating the ball, playing some good stuff, controlling possession and stuff like that, and that was the very first time. And of course, as a Chelsea fan, now me personally United is winning. It means that if United had won, it will help Chelsea closing the gap on Nottingham Forest. So the whole time, I was hoping United at least being a draw. But like Ruben Amorim after the game, his assessment was that the final third quality no anyhow. And then now they push, they didn't get the final third quality. They tried several times, they didn't get the final third quality. And that's what really did hurt them our matching. So what it means is that still Nottingham Forest look like they are really consolidating on the 3rd place, and Chelsea are still in 4th. How Chelsea will be able to tie down with a top 4 finish and a Champions League finish is that they need to win their games, because they're not Arsenal shy, and then Liverpool is playing against Everton in the Merseyside derby. Then Nottingham Forest are in 57 points, Chelsea 49 points. That is 6 points away from the 2 games. Chelsea has Nottingham Forest to play at the tail end of the season, last game of the season, but they need to beat Tottenham Hotspur, Ochina, and then over the weekend against Brentford. 2 London derbies that I think Chelsea cannot afford to drop points. If they drop points against Tottenham Hotspur, not almost also lose against Brentford, then they are in trouble. They are in serious trouble because over there, one crawling back the points now. Newcastle, Man City, a lot of the teams want to go and play the Champions League. I think that after all the nice numbers that Chelsea owners know, they have to have one thing about the profit they've had in the last year. What matters most to every football fan at Chelsea and it's a Chelsea best on the field of play. The good thing, however, is that Enzo Maresca, who is the manager of Chelsea, has spoken to Chelsea TV in preparation for the Tottenham Hotspur match. But before that, I heard that according to Telegraph, that Chelsea for now earmarked 70 million for Maguire. That doesn't make sense. Why is Maguire valued at 70 million? Or the value didn't do 70 million. And in fact, if you are going to bring in Mamadou Sarr, if you have recovered Wesley Fofana, if you need a much more experienced centre back, and I've said it, if it's not Kuti Romero, if it's not Morello, if not some of these guys that are very much experienced on Tilma, I'm enthused about Abrentia, a friend of my gay. I think he's a good centre back, born on him ball. But I need a leader with Chono because Chelsea in Crown, I'm a boss centre back, very young, 20, 19, 22, 23 years boys. You need somebody that really ups leadership with Chono, somebody that commands the back end. Every team they are competing, Ruben Dias for Man City, Virgil van Dijk for Liverpool, Harry Maguire for Manchester United. Which team? Tottenham Hotspur, Kuti Romero, Milenkovic for Nottingham Forest, Arsenal, Magalhaes and Saliba. Everybody has a commandant, quote and unquote, at the back. Chelsea don't have that commander. And I don't think you get it in Maguire. Even when he was playing with Joachim Andersen, I feel like Joachim Andersen is more of a leader than him now at Fulham. It is 70 million for Maguire, and the story reads that Chelsea are confident they will sign 70 million Crystal Palace star Maguire. I think that's a little bit too much for Abrenta, your friend of Maguire. And Enzo Maresca said some nice things to Chelsea TV. I'll run you through them. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. It's all shit. And first one, I'll say Nintia Chelsea dropping off in points in recent times. Now results in Korea was because of injuries. 6 players got injured. It makes some sense because for consistency, you need your top players to be there. And I've said Chelsea have missed Nicolas Jackson, they've missed Noni Madueke, they've missed Cole Palmer at some point in time. They've missed Romeo Lavia, they've missed Wesley Fofana. Wesley Fofana, Romeo Lavia are very important for me. And I've said every time at centre back, you need a cat, you need a dog profile. Somebody that reads the game, somebody that sweeps. And if you can't get somebody to do the aggressive job, then the sweeper will not be effective in there. You need somebody to be very aggressive. Then when he misses something, the sweeper sweeps. Now, that is where Chelsea were lacking when there was the absence of Wesley Fofana. Now he's back. Again, you need a tempo controller in the middle of the pack. And that's where Romeo Lavia comes to play in. If Chelsea can keep Sir Boys winning fit, not from now to the end of the season, unbeatable matches back to back, because the 2 London derbies are going to be huge. Over against Brentford, over against Tottenham Hotspur. How do you set yourself up to go in there and play in Sir matches way? It is super important. Super important. Say Chelsea beat my in terms of getting on players' feet, playing how they want to play, and then getting the results in there. Very important. Enzo Maresca said he wants to be in the top 4, he wants to play in the Champions League. Next season, Chelsea will have to play in the Champions League. Of course, I think that that is almost all in terms of the conversation, and I know part with the tidbits everywhere. The early morning conversation over here on Fiifi-Manfred. The sad one again in Germany was that Bayern for Leverkusen lost out to Arminia Bielefeld, 3rd division side team in the DFB Pokal semi-final. And Leverkusen were going into this game with a lead, but for some reason, what's his name? Xavi Alonso's team lost out, and on aggregate, they were bundled out by Arminia Bielefeld or the DFB Pokal over there, and it's not a good one for them. I think that we've run through almost everything this morning in terms of the conversation. Rich James also spoke to Chelsea TV, talking about how proud he is as a Chelsea captain and stuff like that. It doesn't matter. Tomorrow, the big one, Chelsea versus Tottenham Hotspur. Chelsea has to win. If you score that one back-to-back on Tottenham, then you are really serious in getting the Champions League. But we'll draw the getting here. After the show, upload the other one. Then in May, hopefully after the Barca game, we'll come back with you with some more. Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. I will see you. You take care. Bye bye.